Welcome to Meet the HR Show with me, Laura Nell. Another day, another career. Today we have Beryl Oyuer, who is a program manager at NABU. We get to understand her career, and before NABU there was something she was doing. So stick around and get to learn more. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Nell.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm very well. It's been a minute.
A minute is an understatement. I think Corona happened and everything just went up in flames. So, yeah, it's been longer than a minute.
So what have you been up to?
Apart from eating, a lot.
You have to mention eating.
I've been up to mission eating. I know I've added some, fluffy ground.
A little bit.
Kidogo too. It's good for the soul.
Yes.
Apart from that, I've been working. I recently changed jobs.
Changed jobs?
Changed job. Careers, actually. It's actually a career change. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. I've been working, trying to learn my new role and kind of just get into it and see how I can have an impact.
Ah, nice. Before that, what were you doing?
So before that,
Yes.
I used to be on the airwaves. I used to be on radio. So I worked as a news reader, as an editor, and as a reporter for Radio Africa Group. Yeah.
How was it for you?
It has so many angles because it is a whole 7 years of my life.
7 good years.
7 good years of working at a radio station that has multiple radio stations. So it's not just one. And people used to find it so strange, right? Like you tell them you work at Radio Africa, they're like, but I hear you on Classic and Kiss at the same time. What's happening? But yeah, so we worked across the stations. So how was it? Are you looking at the
I'm looking in terms of growth, in terms of the point you started till the point you left. How was the whole experience for you?
Wow. I think when I first started, I was starstruck, I would say, because that time, I'm meeting guys who I used to listen to on radio, the likes of Maina Kageni, Caroline Mutoko, Carol Radul. For me, I think meeting her was the epitome of it all, because you listen to her on radio, she was doing the news, she was doing sports, and you're like, wow, this chick has got it. Yeah, you know, right? And she's got it going. Yeah. So it was a starstruck moment when it started, and of course you're still new, you're still trying to figure it out. What is your voice? What's your sound for radio, for your reporting skills? You're trying to build up, for news as well. So it was a really learning curve. I think the first 2 years for me was learning. I remember I used to just leave work later because I'd really like to understand the system, to improve and stuff like that. Me going on air for the first time, that one was nerve-wracking. And I remember I did briefs. I don't even know why I was so nervous. I did 2 briefs. It must have been a 10 a.m. bulletin. And I was a ball of nerves just listening to my voice on radio later on. Yeah, I was like, what, is it me? I can actually do this.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that was me at Radio Africa, learning, honing my skills. And another thing is that I met so many people. Like, being a journalist really opens you up to meeting a lot of people, and which is a really good thing because you build on your connections and networks. And so for me, it was a really good learning experience. Entrenched in the industry.
Did you look at yourself joining the media world immediately after high school, or how did it happen?
People say I apparently used to talk about joining the media when I was even younger, like that's primary school, high school. But I'm like, no, not really. Yeah, I'm not so sure. But now going into Deo, Daystar University, going into Deo and just seeing kind of the guys who preceded us making it in the media industry. And I was like, yeah, we can actually make this happen, right?
Try this.
Yeah, like you'd see Akina Mashirima Kapombe, who was actually one of my bosses at Shine FM, because we had this radio station. Oh, I loved Shine. Shine was a good ground also for learning. I was looking at these guys, Akina Eric Omondi, doing their own thing, Larry Mado. Like, we had quite Betty Charlo. Guys who had gone before us, and they were making it big. They were making it big. So you're like, okay, yeah, even me, I can make it. Yeah. Let me see where I can fit in.
Highest point at radio.
Highest points. Wow, they're quite a number. I would say just having an impact on individual people.
Yeah.
There's a time we did a story. There was a girl who was missing in Mombasa. And I remember just running that story for Classic. And when the girl was found, actually people had the story and they found the girl and they actually called back, like the reporter who did it in Mombasa,
Yes.
Calvin Onsarigo, he was one of our reporters there at the coast, called me and he's like, oh, the family, they just want to appreciate you for running the story. And I'm like, I was just doing my job as a journalist, but you can imagine the impact it has on individuals. I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's actually working.
It is working and it is worth it. So not all the time you have to talk about politics. You know, like not all the time we have to talk about Kemsa scandal or whatever scandals that are going on. We always have something to talk about in the media, and not every time we have to have negative news. Sometimes we just have content that inspires people, and for me that was my highest point. I was like, okay, this has touched someone's life directly, then it's worth it.
From radio news, did you ever think of doing a show?
A show like, for example, programming, going into programming.
Yes.
Not really. I don't think my personality allowed me to go into programming. I don't think I can talk to myself for like 4 hours. Because you know those guys do like shows for breakfast shows are like what, 4 hours, then mid-morning. Like just talking to myself. Even if you have a co-host, it would take a lot of energy from me. I don't think I'm that kind. My personality doesn't allow. But I would love to do a sports show. Funny enough, but
sports show.
Formula One. Only to talk about Formula One.
Lewis Hamilton.
Because of Lewis Hamilton. Okay. Okay. If someone gave me a sports show, I would totally do it.
If it has F1.
If it has F1. If I can talk about Formula One, then yes. I'll totally
that's a most definite yes.
That's a most definite. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll learn ukombele.
I will figure it out how to go with it. Lowest point.
Lowest point, I think it's covering this dark moments. Like I remember my very, very first time covering a terror incident was the Westgate incident. And I don't know why I was in the office. I was randomly in the office on that Saturday. Then we hear these two explosions because then our office was near Westgate, right? Yes. So we hear them and we were like, that's probably a bank robbery. Police are chasing some robbers or whatever. Just something is happening. But then we had to go to the scene and we actually lost a colleague. Yeah. A number of colleagues actually. But just losing someone who you've worked with at a terror incident, that for me was really low. Yeah. And you know, because you're a journalist, you pretend like it doesn't affect you, like you don't want to go through the emotions because why? The story comes first. So you're thinking, I need to get this story out. You're not even thinking about like what am I feeling? Like I've just lost someone I've worked with. You're
already emotional, but you still have to cover it.
But you still have to cover it. Like for you, it's getting the job done.
Yeah.
And I think that's something the Media Council really needs to look at in terms of trauma. Looking at how to help journalists who have gone through a lot of trauma, because covering these things are not easy. Like seeing dead bodies, seeing guys who have been gunshot wounds or guys who are at the brink of death. It actually affects you. It actually affects you, whether we like it or not, whether we accept or not as journalists. Yeah. It affects you and it affects you badly and it can manifest later on. So it's something we need to really think about. How do we help people? They kind of speak out and go through trauma management and stuff like that.
To take us a little bit back, how did your career of radio start?
Oh, radio.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was an intern at Royal Media Services at Citizen TV. That's where I started. And then there was an opening at Radio Africa. So I applied.
Just miraculously and said, let me try it out.
Okay, I think, God had something to do with it. Yes. But I believe I was qualified. So I sent my application and I did a demo. This demo, I actually did it on my phone. I knew it wasn't even good enough. You know, those things you just send because you're like, now, let me just try. Let's just see. There were 2 openings. So when I reached the interview place, I find another pal of mine who were with at Daystar. And I'm like, her voice, my voice, she's probably the one who's going to get this job. So I was just kind of like, okay, whatever happens. At least I tried. At least I tried. But they actually really liked me and that's how I got my job.
And 7 years
later is when I said goodbye.
So you moved from radio till programming manager.
Imagine.
How was it?
That transition was strange. because all I had done before then was journalism and media and news. I'd never even done like programs the way we were talking about. So you can imagine you're getting into a role where you're supposed to make decisions. Not that I wasn't making decisions at radio, because then I was an editor as well. But now you're making decisions of magnitudes, like you're trying to develop something. So because NABU is a digital literacy organization, and we're really trying to boost the reading culture in Kenya by providing access to books that children can use to ensure that they're reading to rise to their full potential. And so you can imagine getting into an area like that where now you have to talk to stakeholders.
Ingiza them box.
Ingiza them box. You have to go for meetings, serious meeting. You're not just meeting. I was used to being on the other side where I'll just ask questions and get answers.
Just
now
like
you're talking to policy developers. You're talking to other civil society organizations that are dealing with education. And so just looking for ways to reach out and making budgets and doing strategy for the whole year and coming up with a strategy of how to hire team members and stuff like that. It was a total shift. Like it was 350, it wasn't 360. I wasn't going back to the same point. It's 350. It was totally different, but I embraced it.
Was it your dream career?
I would say to be honest, radio, being a journalist is it still is my dream job. But I'm slowly getting to learn and appreciate being in the NGO world. It is a lot of work. It is more work than the media.
The one that we used to.
The ones that we used to, but the hours are not as crazy as the media. Although, because of the different teams we work with and the time zones, it means that I have to be up sometimes. I have a meeting at 4 a.m. Sometimes I have a meeting at 11. So it's not just for Kenya. So NABU operates in Rwanda. We also have operations in Haiti. We have operations in the DRC, and our parent company is in the US. And we also have another office in Australia. So you can imagine when you're having team meetings and you have to connect everyone. So it ends up like 4 a.m. you have a meeting, and then someone else puts a meeting at 11 p.m. That time you are up by like 3:30. You're still up by 11.
Lots of burnouts.
I don't think it's really burnout. It's more of how do you balance this. Of course, because we work from home right now. You can sneak in a nap. Unafika mahali unajambia, hey, no, let me take a small nap and just kind of, recharge. Because otherwise you'll go crazy. But it's still a good learning experience. Like,
love it.
I have grown to love it.
Did you have to get lots of training before getting into it, or it's that one that learning the job?
I would say there was a bit of training in terms of just understanding the way the organization operates, understanding our mission, our vision, and kind of having the clarity of what my role entailed. But most of the things I tell you for free is I've learned on the job.
You've learned it.
Like creating decks for going to pitch to organizations. I had to learn on the job. Like you just look at what someone else has done and you're like, okay, so these are my objectives, this is what I need to do. You kind of twist things and you're like, okay, this is how you create a deck, a presentation deck. You go for it.
Now while presenting, there are people who will accept your proposal and they'll refuse it. Which proposal made you go down and you had given it your all?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm just thinking about it and it's taking me back.
It's still emotional.
It's a raw wound. It's like a raw one. I don't think I want to mention the organization, but I would say it's one of the telcos in Kenya, and we had done a proposal for them to jointly work together, and they were like, nope. It's not, it doesn't add value to us. Let me tell you that one made me feel some type of way. I'm like, no, but we're doing it for the good of kids. At the end of the day, you think your idea is the best, but to someone else, it doesn't make sense sometimes. They're like, it doesn't add any value to me, so I'm not gonna go out of my way to do this. Maybe some other time. But that time you've worked on it. This is something you're not sleeping. You keep on doing. You've done research. You've learned how to do these promotional decks. Remember me, I was a journalist. Used to write stories.
What's a promotional decks?
promotional decks is
Yeah.
like whatever you're pitching, so your presentation
Okay.
to say, yeah, so to speak, just to make it simpler, yeah, it's like your presentation. So this presentation you've worked on like the whole day, the whole night, you've gotten corrections, you've made sure you've articulated your points as short and sweet as possible, and then someone tells you, no, actually,
Point blank.
raw safi. Yeah, and then you're left there thinking, well, say I would have slept. But you
Yeah.
win some, you lose some. But I think life is the journey. In those failures is when you learn the most, because then it even gives you confidence for the next, and you know, okay, this is what these guys like, this is what they would be interested in partnering with. Yeah, so you kind of gain something. Like, don't always look at an L as just an L. Like it's not a loss all the time. Sometimes it's for learning.
It's about learning.
It's about learning.
Okay. Learning in terms of working from home.
Yes.
Researching and being very, very disciplined. How is it going for you?
I'm not disciplined. However,
Point blank.
I am not disciplined. Let me tell you, if I don't have a meeting, I'm not showering. As in, me, I shower afternoon. I'm not even lying. I shower in the afternoon. Like, I will take my time. I'll work in my PJs. I'll watch a series once in a while, thereabout. But I, however, find myself working more hours. So
compared to the normal one.
to the normal office 9 to 5 job where I have to clock in somewhere, because you'll start work, let's say you have a meeting at 6 in the morning, you'll be done maybe at 5 p.m. then probably you have another meeting at 7 or 7:30, so you're like 7:30 p.m.
Yes.
That's 7:30 p.m. So you'll find yourself still, you continue to work, but if you're in a 9 to 5 kind of setup, what you do, see, once umenda home,
You're finished for the
you're
day.
done.
Tupatane
Tupatane kesho. Like, you leave kwanza your work hapo kwa ofisi, you go home, you know.
Yeah.
But this one now, you live at work, because I feel like I live at work, because my working space is my living space.
You work with your computer, you work with
With
it.
it, you're doing everything with it. The flexibility is great in terms of you can work from anywhere. I like that, that you don't have to see me in a physical office to know that I'm working. My output should be enough.
Yes.
And that's something employers need to understand. But it's all about the output. Hii maneno ya lazima uone mtu hapo.
You have to see
Kwa
the
desk.
process.
You have to see someone to do amekaa kwa desk, anafanya kazi all those hours. But people really waste a lot of time in the office.
That's true.
Case in point, radio. Like, someone would come to your desk with a bottle of water. You know, those people who used to work with cucumbers.
I'm losing weight,
I'm
please.
losing weight. Ndimu and cucumbers. Oh my God.
With a tall bottle.
Tall bottle. Comes to your desk. You guys talk for like 30, 35 minutes. You've wasted half an hour.
30, 35.
Or even an hour.
Yeah.
Talking about things you would have talked about after work. Like, things, not emergencies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're working from home, it's you have to jiskuma
Yes.
to do the work.
Yeah.
So you find yourself doing more work as compared to if you had to do it in the office.
Now for the
For me.
office, people are mini, and this one you're at home.
Yeah.
Do you miss people interaction, or computer?
Zoom.
That's enough.
Yeah, Zoom.
Zoom is
I
okay.
actually do miss people.
Yeah.
I actually do miss people. Yeah. I think that Zoom connections are not the same. Like, you're on Zoom and you guys can see each other. But sometimes, you don't want to show your face because you probably have just woken up 5 minutes to the meeting. So what you will do is your video will be off or whatever.
Yeah.
So you kind of don't have that camaraderie of working together. It's more of just, let's get this done. Everyone is doing their own thing in their own silo.
That's
true.
true.
Let's just get this done and move on. But when you're working together, it's like, it's camaraderie.
Teamwork.
Mko na ka teamwork, nini. Go out to lunch, go to a kibandaski, piga story, tembea, nini. Yeah.
Which
So
is
working
really
from home,
nice.
it's a good thing, and it's also just made my trips to the fridge too frequent.
And adding a little bit of weight.
Just a bit.
Do you think
Fluffy
the next,
points.
the laughing point?
Yeah, fluffy.
Or the
point.
fluffy points? We apologize.
Sorry.
Do you think that with this coming of working remotely,
Yeah.
is it the next big thing that offices will now embrace?
I think so. I think employers have now seen they can actually cut a lot of costs. Because you can imagine when you're in an office setup, you're thinking of what? Water. The way people drink so much water.
Hey.
Yeah, you have to pay for guys to clean up the office.
Yes.
You have to pay for the desks and the internet and whatnot. So if you can reduce those costs and still get the same amount of output, it's great.
Yeah.
And then you see now guys are not wasting time in traffic.
True.
Like the guys used to spend, like, if you're living past South B, Mombasa Road,
Forget about
getting to the office. Yani unamka 5 ufike kwa ofisi 9. What is that? 4 hours waste. Imagine that guy would have slept and woken up at 7 to start a meeting at 8. So your employees' lives are better because they have they're having quality sleep. They're in a good mood and all that.
Working better.
They're working better as compared to mse ameka kwa jam, ametukanana na watu kwa barabara. Mama matatu imemfanya ile kitu mbaya, wamebaki na change yake. You know what I mean? Like all these things that happen when you're on your commute to work. Ama amebiwa simu town, alikuwa na text boss, I'm gonna be late. Then someone decided, I'm going to teach you a lesson today in Nairobi, you know, stuff like that. So the quality of life is better as you're working from home. You're more comfortable, you're in a comfortable space.
Yes.
But still, that bringing people together. I think employers will embrace that a hybrid model, where you can work from home or work in the office. So that you just kind of balance it out, because you also don't want that disconnect with team members.
Yes. We were talking earlier about how working from home is way better because it doesn't matter the process that you'll take so long as you get the job done. And there are various employees or employers who have to be followed for the work to be done. Now, working from home.
Okay, now people will lose jobs. Imagine if you have to be followed, because you have to be someone who's very self-motivated to get work done. And that's where now you'll be able to identify who are the good employees and who are the quality guys to kind of keep in your team. Because then you're able to see their patterns. There are people who have to be followed all the time, and there's so many Kenyans who are jobless, looking for jobs.
That's true.
And would do extra stuff to, to get this job. So yeah, I think the lazy ones will definitely be weeded out.
It will be a problem.
It will be a problem.
Wow. Motivation in the office involves lots of activities. Now working from home, motivation, where does it come from?
It has to be you, my friends. It has to be you. You have to just figure it out. And see how to motivate yourself. But also just team building stuff. Okay, they are very important. I think that's something that should not be, as much as we can have a hybrid model where there's some people work from home and there are guys who work in the office. Like essential guys should essentially be in the office. And then the guys who are doing, like, let's say something on digital, you don't need to come to an office to do that work, right?
Just have internet in the house.
Internet in the house and you're good to go. So, like, motivating those guys, you can still do those two team building exercises. And meet guys outside of the confines of the office or home, and kind of still build that rapport with your team members. So there are some of the things that can be done.
Now, how do you get to know people in your team, and yet you're working from home, you're in different time zones, you don't know what type of a person this is in terms of personality, and you bring a program manager? How are you handling that?
I think you just have to be very careful about how the boundaries you set kwanza online. So as I was saying, the times people will set for you a meeting at midnight, because for them it's 3 p.m.
Perfect timing,
and you're like, no, it's midnight. Boundaries. Let's make sure that everyone is being accommodated, because we work in different time zones, right?
True.
So I think it's just setting boundaries and being very good at communication. So it's very important for you to kind of let a team member know, especially if they're stepping on your toe, because we all have different personalities.
That's true.
Just let them know, like, no, don't be setting for me meetings past this time. Or if we are doing a project together and they're kind of not getting or doing their part, like, be very open and communicative and be like, okay, I like my work done like this, and I need it delivered at this time. So let's work with these timelines. So it's just about communication, by the way.
Communication,
because everyone comes with their own personalities. Even in that office where it's face to face, everyone has their own personality, and so you must learn how to work with other people, and that's where the essential part of teamwork is. So most of us, we are solo rangers. You know, you're like, oh, I can get all
an
these things
introvert.
done. I remember those guys in Daystar, like, you know, when you're doing group work and they're like, ah, me, I'll do everything.
Aye, me I can.
Me, the Kenyanese in us. I'll do everything, you know, because I want to get 100% or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it's learning how to just communicate with people, let people know what your boundaries are, and you're not perfect as well.
That's
you also
true.
have personality flaws.
Yes.
So just when someone comes to you, you tell them, like, if I've wronged you or whatever, just communicate to me, like talk to me.
Yeah.
And the various channels.
Yeah, that's true. It has taken you like 7 years for you to change your career.
Yes.
And someone outside there is feeling, I need to change my career right now, and it's just been 2 months. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, wow, it's okay. It's okay to be dynamic. I would say that.
Yes.
It's okay to be dynamic. It's okay to want to change. We are not welded anywhere. We are not. You can change your mind. By the way, it's okay. I would say probably for our generation, the generation after us, that's Gen Z. I'm a millennial.
Hey,
Gen
our
Z,
millennial.
You Gen Zs.
Well, we accept.
And they're always looking for new opportunities, and you're kind of irrational. Just kind of track back and look at yourself and kind of do an audit of your life and be like, do I want to change my mind because it's hard? Or is it because I'm more passionate? Like, probably I'm in IT and I want to be a photographer and I'm very passionate about it. I'd say go for it. Don't stay in IT. You go to a job every day, you're so tired of working.
You're
Any
mad.
Monday is hell for you.
Yeah.
And yet when you're doing photography, even if you're called on a Sunday at noon
You
or at
will
10
go.
or at midnight, you're going. I'm there. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do this.
Yeah.
So look at yourself and kind of do an audit. Am I doing this because I want to change, or am I doing this because it's hard?
Yeah.
Am I passionate about the thing I want to change for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have like someone you look up to?
Yeah,
Yes.
quite a number of people. Like, I'm just thinking about it. There are quite a number of people, but I think the person I look up to the most is my mother. Funny enough.
Yes.
My mom is someone who just use the stairs. Like, she always tells people, don't go through the lift, use the stairs.
Just banda.
Like, there's something about going through it's a process in life. Everything is a process.
Yeah.
If you miss some things, even if you're at the top,
Yes.
you wouldn't bring value the way you would if you use the stairs.
Yes.
So for me, that's a big thing. Like, go through the process. It will be hard at first. Let me tell you, it can take years and years before you crack it. But once you do,
Yes.
because you use the stairs, you know everything from the beginning to
to
the
end.
You
And
know
you know how valuable it is.
how valuable it is. You know.
Yes. So thank you for having us today. This was a very beautiful conversation.
Thank you too.
We need a part 2.
We need a part 2.
Yeah. We
can
have a
talk
lot to
about-
discuss.
We do. We have so much to talk about. We can talk about the Gen Zs now.
Yeah, very important.
The microwave generation.
It's not microwave generation,
It
Beryl.
is. You guys just want everything instantly.
Pap, pap.
Instantly. Pap, pap, pap. Yeah. Some of us work for it. We stay there. Tunavumilia.
Si pia tunajaribu kuvumilia.
Na-
So far so good.
Nyinyi mnapenda soft life sana.
So baby girl lifestyle.
Baby girl. Yes.
That has been Meet the HR Show. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.